Let's see what Carol has been up to. Did she get her hand grenade delivered? Episode 3, entitled Grenade, essentially sees Carol push the limits of what the joint can do for her. Now, let's establish some references words, because these infected, I keep calling them, they're called joined, and also moment 0, as per the countdown in the series, we will call the event. So I will use those two reference words just to refer to people and moments in the series. After the happenings of the first 2 episodes, where Carol got used to the rules of this new world and how to survive and live within them, she continues to explore what she can do, essentially, and where she can stop demanding things from the joint. At the same time, this episode is a bit slower paced, but takes a bit more introspective angle into Carol's mind, and not only, and I'll come back to that in a moment. The episode starts with a memorable moment in Carol's life, some 7 years prior to the event. This finds Carol and Helen stay in an ice hotel in Norway. It's a very fun scene that just further shows how much Carol cared for Helen, her best friend who died in the first episode, but also shows how stubborn Carol is when she's told that her new book is like in the top 20 of New York Times, I believe. She doesn't celebrate it. She just wants to know, where is it top 20? Is it closer to 11 or to 20? Or when they get an amazing view of the Aurora Borealis from their bedroom directly, Carol reacts by saying it looks like something like a screensaver. So it's pure dark humor from Vince Gilligan. But back to reality, where we are 3 days after the event. Carol is returning home, flying by herself in a massive jet, just as we've seen at the end of episode 2, and everything is provided for her. Not that she wants much, to be honest. But now, as in the second episode, Carol feels trapped in this world. She doesn't want to join the joint, the infected, or take advantage of her new situation, so she's trying to find a solution to save the world. So she starts asking questions about the other 5 people that haven't been infected but don't speak English. So she's met the ones that are speaking English in the second episode. Finds out that there is another person from Paraguay who hasn't communicated with the joint yet. And when she tries to call him, he's just not bothered. He doesn't want to speak with anybody. So Carol quickly gives up. She always bursts into a fit of anger, but she gives up. Now I have a feeling this person will come back later, because he is a credited character on IMDb. But it's also worth noting that the joint here, represented by Zosha, played by Carolina Wider, I believe is the actress's name. She's Carol's chaperone, is called, as in the one that looks over her and makes sure she has everything she needs. She represents the joint, and they continue to be this naive and dorky and innocent, just because they're so content and don't see anything wrong with the situation, with how they live. They are weird in how they refer to themselves as we and us in every single sentence. How may we help you? How may, it doesn't impact us, or things like that. But this innocent, docile weirdness makes us, the audience, somehow not be bothered by them, and more curious than angry at the fact that they essentially erased human individuality. And I'm sure it might be a scheme over the course of the series. It might be on purpose, because the more the series continues to show us their innocent, content way of living, happiness in the way they live, compared to how miserable and sometimes angry, perverse Carol can be, or where her path leads her to, this anger that is continuously fed. We might see a reverse of the villain and the hero here, whereby Carol might become the villain or the anti-hero, and the joint actually be the good part in the in the series, or by the end of the season 1. I mean, we've all seen Breaking Bad, how good people turn into bad in that series, right? So I won't be surprised if this is something that is going to happen in the future. But back to the episode. So Carol obviously tries the obvious, to continue to live her life as she used to, even though that is literally impossible. So the Joint also do nothing to help her state of mind. They mean her well, but they continuously remind her that they own and they know all of Helen's memories with Carol, which is invasive and something they don't understand what invasive means. And this all makes it really hard for Carol not to have another fit of anger at them, because and that can cause another worldwide seizure and cost lives, as we've seen in episode 2. Now Carol decides to do grocery shopping, and this is a really good section of this episode where she goes to the local Sprouts, and surprise surprise, the shop is completely empty. It's cleaned out, just because the Joint are much more efficient, so they're centralizing all the resources from all the shops and private houses, businesses, so they can distribute it easier and better. But this is the twist of the episode. Carol says she just wants her Sprouts back, to which the Joint responds, absolutely, will do, and we'll be there in a moment. And within minutes, there are 10 trucks full of groceries that fill the car park. They're emptied, boom, 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 like military style. They're emptied. The shelves in the grocery store are filled. They literally make it look like a brand new opened shop just for Carol, and all of this like with efficiency and precision. It's an impressive, really cool scene, and you can see the choreography and the typical Gilligan editing style in there, which is really good to see. But at the same time, it makes Carol feel, uncomfortable. All this effort and waste just because of her whim. Just because one person decided that she wants to have her groceries and she wants to do groceries in person, when she could have just have those delivered without any issues. But also, this is the twist that makes her wonder if they've done this within minutes for her. She literally has the servitude and the power of essentially billions of people, just as she wanted to use that as she wants. And that's an interesting angle, and obviously for a human being it's a very dangerous angle too. So that continues. So that evening, when the lights in the whole city, including her house and Carol's house, are turned off, because the Joint are also all about conservation, and they switch them off and they don't need to keep all the lights on. There's no crime to prevent, so they don't have to work at night. They don't need to keep the lights on at night. So when Carol contains, she obviously gets angry because they just switched off her lights and her favorite TV show got interrupted. She masks her anger with sarcasm, saying that the greatest topper of this best week in her life would be a hand grenade, and then she hangs up the phone. And then you can guess what happens after that, because Zosha knocks on the door and delivers her a hand grenade with apologies for the delay. And they obviously don't get sarcasm. And this was one of the many laughter moments in the film, because when Zosha understands that it was sarcasm, she takes the grenade back to the car. Carol asks, considering the events that just happened and the events that will happen, Carol just asks, do you maniacs drink? I thought that's one of the best lines of this episode. Now, inside the house later on, the dialogue between Carol and Zosha over a drink is unbelievable. With the hand grenade on the table, it's quite revealing. It gives us an insight into the way the Joint look at life, and an interesting discussion on why they want Carol to be like them. They genuinely feel that Carol is drowning. She's suffering because she has no idea how perfect their way of living is, and they just want to save her. There's an allegory there saying that if you see a person drowning, you will immediately help them without asking any permission. And that just brilliantly reflects how they live and how they feel towards regular humans. There's quite some good acting in there. Obviously this writing is brilliant, and you see these two actresses bounce off each other, which with such good writing to help them. So it's really a really impressive scene, one for the ages. Now I won't spoil the rest of the episode, but it is fair to say that Carol does find out the limits of what she can ask for from the Joint. And even though this is a slower paced episode than the first two, it does asks a lot of interesting questions. It continues the mystery and adds to the mystery and the weirdness of the situation, but also takes an introspective journey into both Carol's and the joint state of mind and how they look at things, and it keeps things fresh and gripping. It's safe to say that that last scene in this episode, which I won't spoil, is both funny and scary. And it's typical Vince Gilligan. It has that perfect front face, straight at the camera acting from two characters that is really good. Anyway, this was a brilliant episode, I found, just like the first two. What are your thoughts? How long do you think Carol can handle this isolation in this new world? Let me know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.